G'day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Fabulous Friday to one and all. Welcome to Singapore International Dynamic Speakers Chapter Meeting. We have a fantastic lineup for you tonight. My name is Lee Buckley, and I'm the Toastmaster of the day for tonight's meeting. The theme for tonight is confidence. According to Blake Lively, the most beautiful thing you can wear is confidence. Many successful people credit their success to their sense of self awareness as well as confidence. However, not many people can explain how to build confidence or how to be confident. I'll leave you to ponder on that as we hear from our club president, distinguished Toastmaster Willie Low, with his opening address. Over to you, Mr. Club President.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. While you may know all the technique of expressiveness, the factor that most determine the level of your expressiveness, how effective you really are is confidence. How many types of confidence are there? The first confidence is your quality of your speech. That is one reason it is important to have a well-written speech. If you believe that your speech is only so-so, you will not only present boldly. Take the time to learn how to craft a good speech. Seek help if needed. The second is your confidence in your knowledge of and the comfort if performing your speech. The more you know your speech, the words and phrases that are coming out, how you're going to say that, and what you're going to do on stage. The most demonstrative and expression you will be. If you are constantly trying to remember your speech, you will hold back. Your attention is focused on your words, not your audience. As a result, you will sound flat magnetism and rehearse. That is why practice is so important. Plan plenty of rehearse time into each speech or presentation. The third type of confidence is confidence in your speaking ability. If you don't think you can do it, don't worry. Your confidence will go over time as you speak more and more. The last type of confidence is confidence in yourself. Let's face it, it takes guts to perform a high level. If you are worried about what others will think, you will hold back. The most confident you are in your own skill, as the saying goes, the bolder you will be on stage. Fellow Toastmaster, do you remember the first day that you attend a Toastmaster club and you take your first impromptu speaking? And even when you join as a member, what's your feeling doing your first icebreaker? Many of us will feel chill in our body and our eyes towards will always see the sky instead of the audience. 3 years, 2 years, 1 year later, 2 years later, or 3 years later, you are able to see people eye to eye because you have gained confidence by joining a Toastmaster and preparing a speech. Many of us who have not taken the first step should continue to take the first step because if you go try it, you will not have confidence. Even you chase a lady and you got rejected, you will keep on trying to gain more confidence because you will know. If not, you will say, this person is not for me or not for you. Then you move on and you lose confidence. And if you are not married, you will be left alone in the shop. Over back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Club President. Yes, I do remember that day when my face was red as tomato, sweat pouring down the side of my head. My hands were shaking and my knees were shaking, and all I could hear was boo boop, boo boop, boo boop. And all I uttered was three words. Um, sorry. And then I went back to my seat. Yeah. Everyone lacks self confidence now and then, don't you agree? And even more so in these uncertain and tumultuous COVID 19 and post COVID 19 times. According to Frances Bridges, in her article published in Forbes in 2017, confidence is built on many things, including choices and accomplishment that feeds our passion and makes us feel happy, as well as ones that make us feel proud of who we are. Discovering these things is one of the most meaningful pursuits of our lives. Friends, what is your secret recipe in building your own self confidence? Please feel free to type your answer in the chat and we will come back to you throughout the night. In the meantime, let's hear from some of our role players who will be supporting our meeting tonight, what their secret recipes are for building self confidence. First up is our grammarian, also known as the language evaluator, Toastmaster Jennifer Lim. Friends call her Hot Mama. Toastmaster Jennifer likes reading to gain knowledge, singing to improve her vocal, as well as dancing to keep fit. Toastmaster Jennifer, could you please tell us about your role as the grammarian tonight, as well as your secret recipe in building your self confidence? Over to you, Toastmaster Jennifer.
Thank you. Good evening, Club President and fellow Toastmasters. My role as a grammarian is to comment on the good use of the English language, as well as the inappropriate use of the English language, and to offer suggestions on how we can improve our English language. And the other thing you were saying, Lee Buckley, is what was that? Sorry.
That's okay. It's your secret recipe for building self confidence.
My secret recipe is not a secret if I tell. Anyway, it's never a secret. To build my self-confidence, first, I have to believe in myself. And I get help from others if I do not know how to do certain project or speeches. I get hints from fellow Toastmasters, friends, or even siblings, and with that, I will improve as I go along in life, not necessarily as a Toastmaster speaker, not at all. It can be anything in life. So that's how I built my confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jennifer. What about the word of the day for tonight?
Right, okay. I'd like to share my screen. I'm being disabled. Yes, okay. Can I share? Can you see? Right. I'm using a very simple word, which is hint. 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 And why do I use this? Because tonight's theme is about confidence. So we need hints as well as guidance from fellow Toastmasters to make our speech better. For example, as a noun, hint is a slight or indirect indication or suggestion. For example, he has given no hint of his views. And the second one is a small piece of practical information or advice. My Toastmaster mentor has given handy hints on how to improve my speech for the forthcoming contest. As a verb, suggest or indicate something indirectly or covertly. For example, the minister hinted at a possible change of heart with regard to the COVID-19 situation, the relaxation during Chinese New Year. At first, they say 8. And then they added things like, 8 to a family, So these are things. So do make use of the word hint in whatever ways you can. Hint, hinted. Okay, so back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Madam Grammarian. Thank you for hinting that belief is one of the ways to build self-confidence. Let's hear from Pranav. He said action is his secret recipe. Yeah. Could you tell us more about how, or hint at more, how action helps you to become more confident? Over to you, Pranav.
Okay. So thank you, Lee. So for me, action is in the way of like instead of simply say learning or reading about it, go out and apply what you learn, because there's only so much that you can do by say by yourself in a passive way. But when you go out and act on it, even if you fail, like I have failed initially quite a few times, but just knowing that you did it, that you tried it itself makes me feel elated and makes me more confident that yes, that this is not something that is beyond me, this is something I can do. I just need to get practice it again and again so I can get better at it. So by acting on what I learn and all, I am able to be more confident on what I am doing.
Thank you, Pranav, for hinting that action speaks louder than words. Yeah. And thank you for your sharing as well. Another key technical player who's very important tonight to help us keep our time is Madam Timer, Distinguished Toastmaster Alicia Chia. She is a happy-go-lucky person who enjoys life, aims to live in a moment, to create memories, and enjoy journey more than the destination. Guess what? If you ever love saxophone, she's the person that you go to. She loves digital photography, sports, as well as being a tourist in her own country. Distinguished Toastmaster Alicia, could you please tell us about your role tonight as the timer, as well as hint at the secret recipe for building self confidence? Over to you, Toastmaster Alicia.
Yeah, sure. Toastmaster of the day. My role today as a timer is to assist our speakers and evaluators to keep track of their time. And I'll be flashing behind me the virtual screens of green, yellow, and red. And when it's up, I'll flash the time is up virtual screen behind me. Now, what's my recipe for building confidence? Well, for me, it's just like cooking a dish. There are many ingredients for my success formula for confidence. Many people have said that I always project the confident look, but really internally sometimes I'm not confident. But then I remember I have many ingredients to building that confident formula. The first ingredient is probably I take care of myself by eating well. I have a very good breakfast. I make sure my breakfast is full of nutrients, okay, and brain food, soya. And then after that, I make sure that I also get my physical fitness up to level. As you know, our Toastmaster today has already mentioned that I love to do outdoor sports, running, cycling, anything that's outdoor. So when I'm more free and I'm not that busy, I try to fit in my exercise routine. Last year, it wasn't so good because of COVID-19. So this year, I've already started booking all my running competitions and cycling competitions as well. So that will keep my fitness level up. And once my fitness level is up, that's where I get my energetic style. I've been told that I've got this energetic style when I do my speeches. And the other final ingredient that keeps my confidence level up all the time is I watch carefully what I dress and what I wear, my clothes, my spectacles, my haircut. all these add on to the successful formula for building confidence. That's how I sustain and always change the wardrobe regularly. I know I got a lot of wardrobe last year that wasn't touched much because of COVID-19. So I'm taking it out once again. And that's where the confidence level will rebuild again. So that is basically my formula. So feel free to follow my formula. I'm sure it'll work for you as it worked for me. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Madam Timer, for sharing with us your secret recipe. I agree with you. This month, I had a lot of parties, a lot of functions. So my excuse was, sorry, I'll start my diet again next month. Okay. So I will join you in eating healthy starting Monday. And I will try and bring out all my best clothes as well to build my confidence. Thank you, Madam Timer. I'd just like to ask you if you could share with us your role as a timer tonight as well,
All right.
in terms of sharing your the virtual background that you were saying,
Oh,
so that
yes,
we can
yes.
have a look at
You,
it
you
as
guys want to
well.
have a look? Okay, have this new
Yes,
virtual
please.
background that I'll be
Yeah.
using. Just give me a minute. When I start timing, everyone will have this slide that shows start with the traffic light all in gray. Then when the time goes to the green light, I have the green, and then amber, red, and finally when it's time up, with the 30 seconds, I'll flash this. So everybody is attuned to it. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Madam Timer, Distinguished Toastmaster Alicia Cha. Are we ready tonight to listen to a very exciting program that we have? First up is a workshop by our very own Toastmaster Thomas Chen, followed by 4 prepared speeches and evaluations of these speeches. What is the workshop about? Communication, the art of effective listening. When it comes to communication, it's essential to be an effective listener, as it is to be an effective speaker. In this workshop, we will learn how to develop strong listening skills, analyze the thought patterns of others, and cut through any distraction. This will allow us to maintain focus and respond in the most suitable manner. This workshop is facilitated by Toastmaster Thomas Chen. Before we start, Toastmaster Thomas, what's your secret recipe for building self confidence? If you can share with us, please.
Looking into the mirror every day.
Wow, what a good hint. Yeah. Except my mirror will crack if I look into it. But that's okay. That's another story, right? Thank you, Toastmaster Thomas Chen. Toastmaster Thomas Chen is an international speaker who has spoken in many countries, such as Australia, the Philippines, Indonesia, Hong Kong, China, UAE, USA, and many more. Be it speaking on stage to thousands, engaging in seminar format training, or immersing in one-on-one coaching, Toastmaster Thomas has always strived to deliver highly transformational and, and highly touched services. Please bring the house down in welcoming Toastmaster Thomas Chen with his workshop on Communicate to Connect, the art of effective listening. Please welcome Toastmaster Thomas Chen.
When Nelson Mandela was asked, "What made you such a great leader?" he answered, "Because I am always the last to speak." Amazing day, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmaster of the Day, President. We have always been taught about how to present, how to speak, how to deliver an amazing speech. But today, it's going to be very something different, because today we are going to explore how we can listen. When the Vice President of Education, Alicia, first asked me to conduct this workshop, I thought it was a punishment for me being overly talkative. But to really explore into it, certainly listening is a very important skill which can certainly enhance not only our communication touch, but also the way we lead people, the way we work in our profession, and the way we bring results itself. So to start off, I would really love to appreciate and thank you everyone for being here today to be part of this workshop, to enjoy and to enrich at the same time. Really appreciate all of it. And at any point in time, if you cannot listen to what I'm saying, or if you cannot see me, feel free to let me know. All right, we are going to create a highly engaging experience for this workshop. I'm going to ask some questions, so do give your response freely. All right, so the first question I would love to share and to ask is, what is effective listening? Do key in your point of view about what is effective listening, so I can get to know about your perception and we can discuss this further. What is effective listening? Anyone? You can also unmute yourself if you want to. Comprehending, I'm seeing a lot of comprehending. Anyone else? Lisian, you look like you have difficulty unmuting, so I think there is a good opportunity for you to try the unmute button to share. What do you think is effective listening?
Effective listening is to be able to listen, to know what the speaker has just said and respond to that. Okay, and also to understand, to process not just the words, but to understand the meaning behind what was just said as well.
Very good. How about Martin?
Thank
What
you.
do you think effective listening is?
Think in what or listen carefully what the other person is saying, because many times in Spanish we say you are hearing but you are not listening, so we just hear the sound but we don't understand the meaning, so we must pay attention to what the people is trying to say.
Thank you so much. And yes, many of you have different perception about it, different ideas on it, and amazing, because from my perspective, effective listening, essentially, it's our ability to take in the information accurately and efficiently. So in terms of accuracy, like what some of you have mentioned earlier, it is being able to understand the ideals and the content of the other party in a manner that's objective. Because as some of you may know, sometimes when we get a little bit more emotional, maybe we had a bad day, maybe we had some negative experiences, or maybe we have some preconceived notion of the other person, the information which comes to us may be perceived in a way that is inaccurate, right? So for example, if I see someone who I may not really like, he may have a lot of well-meaning intention, but what he say to me may have a different perspective from it, right? And us as effective listener, what we have to do is to assess it based on his inner purpose of what he's going to share, not based on our perception. So that is in the sense of accurately. And when it comes to efficiently, it is about how we can cut through all those different noises to capture the main essence. Because as some of you may know, there may be people who can speak for hours and hours and hours, but mean nothing at all. So by having the ability of effective listening, we are able to cut through all these different noises to capture the main essence itself, right? Because sometimes things can be very distracting, like gossips, like fake news, like internet content which are not true. And by effectively listening, it is by being able to capture the main essence and not being flooded with the wave of content itself. So that is the whole idea of effective listening. And today, we are going to explore exactly how can we develop this skill of effective listening, all right? So in all areas of effective listening, it will meet 3 C's. And we need to achieve these 3 C's before we are able to classify it as effective listening. So firstly, and most obviously, the content received must be correct. If the person is talking about A, we won't want to think that he is talking about C. That will be incorrect, right? Secondly, it must be complete. Many a times we don't have the complete picture of what is going on, and hence there will be misunderstanding, there may be conflicts from there because we didn't listen in whole. And it brings me to the next part of complete. It must be a complete information. We want to listen it in full. If the speaker is talking about A, B, and C, we must know it as A, B, and C, not just A and C. So that is the completeness. And finally, it is the congruency itself, right? In terms of the happening. So if it's A, B, C, it must be in terms of A, B, C, not C, B, A or C, A, B. That is like cab. If you want to take a taxi, then it's C, A, B. So that is congruency. So it must be clear, it must be correct, and it must be congruent. So whenever we listen, these are the framework that we want to put ourselves into. Is the information truly correct? Not just from the words of the person's mouth, but correct in the sense of, is it well substantiated? Because if it's not well substantiated, then we have to do a little bit about research, a little bit of our own research. A lot of times, if you think about it, when it comes to gossiping, things may not be true, right? What has been said from this person may start to derail and derail and derail. And what happens is the information become misaligned and we have misinterpretation of the person itself. And that's why sometimes we may feel negative feelings towards some people just based on the words we hear around that person, but not based on well substantiated facts. So this is something we have to take note of. And how can we achieve this level of effective listening, right? Because us as Toastmasters, we know how to speak, right? We are able to speak so confidently, so clearly. But when it comes to listening, how can we do it? Well, there is certain areas that we can work on so that we can fully maximize our listening skills. So firstly, is to be emotionally grounded. A lot of time when we go into a situation with emotions in it, regardless of positive emotions or negative emotions, it will tend to derail our way of thinking. And to be very open, for those of you who have a life partner or for those of you who have dated before, the first impression you have of your partner is highly different from the impression you have right now. Am I right to say so? Yeah, we have some honest people right here. And the reason being is because at that point in time, we are highly emotional and our emotions cloud our judgment, be it for the better or for the worse, right? So the first thing we always want to take note of when we are in any situation is to be emotionally grounded. So regardless of what preconceived ideas you have of that particular person, be it your colleagues, friends, family, or fellow Toastmasters member even, we want to stay emotionally grounded. So it's us to be able to manage that crave of emotions so that we can truly focus on objective listening, which is an important part of effective listening itself, right? Okay, the second thing that you want to take note of to develop the skill of effective listening is the idea of going straight to the point. Going straight to the point. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Sometimes we may feel that asking questions, it may sound off that we are impatient, we may sound off that we are too direct, we may sound off that it's a bit so-called hostile. But if you think about it, if you don't ask questions, you are not able to go directly into the point of what that person wants to say. Especially if that person loves to tell a lot of grandmother stories, right? If you want to ask about some information about a project and she will tell you her personal experience, what she ate in the morning, how she brought her dog to the park, whatsoever, you want to really ask questions so that you can absorb that right information. And sometimes it's not the fault of the other party. It is because the other party is not aware. So us, as the recipient of the information and of the content itself, it is our responsibility to ask the questions so that you can zoom directly into the core of the topic of what the conversation is. So if the conversation is about building relationships, you want to get to them, to know them better, you want to go right deep into the purpose of the person, the inner purpose. Why is he here in Toastmasters? Perhaps he's here in Toastmasters to be a confident speaker. That is how you can build a deeper connection, because you know that person's inner purpose, right? You won't get to know the person very well just by knowing what he did that day, just by knowing what breakfast he ate, just by knowing what is his favorite pets. All these are side information. Yes, it does add the pepper and salt, but you really want to go deep dive into his inner purpose, his inner objective, his inner goals itself, so that we can extract the information that is required, right? And thirdly, effective listening, especially when it comes to getting in information that are essential, that are game-changing. For example, be it for your profession, when you are doing your work, you need certain information itself. I know Corey is a website designer, so let's say if she needs some information on website, it would be strategic if she get from multiple different sources rather than just one source itself. Because if we just get from one source, we are not able to effectively have a holistic view of what the whole topic is about. It is only by getting all these different sources, and then from there, we have our objective assessment based on the credibility of the source, based on how much elaboration there is, based on how up-to-date it is. Then from there, it is how we can get the right information by piecing all these different sources and check where are the similarities, common points, and congruency. Right? So far, so good. If it's good, put out a thumbs. Put out a thumb, put out a thumb, put out a thumb. All right. So these are some techniques we can use to be effective listener itself, right? By being emotionally grounded, by asking questions which go deep into the topic itself, and by getting multiple information from multiple points of contact, because that will give us a holistic, complete picture. All right, so now it brings to the point that, okay, I have been listening, I've received all the content, it is amazing, I ensure that it's accurate. What is next? How can we utilize the content which we have absorbed? All right, so now this is the important part, because this is the application itself. So as you know, listening has many different contexts itself. It can be in a professional setting, you are listening to your clients, or you are listening to your colleagues, or it can be in a Toastmaster setting where you are listening to the member. For example, Alicia has been a great listener. She knows that I want to conduct this workshop. That's why she gave me the opportunity to conduct a workshop. She is listening to the member, right? Or in a family setting, listening to any conflicts whatsoever, right? So the first point is that we always have to begin with an end in mind. Because listening or just absorbing all this information, we will be flooded. But when you begin with the end in mind, you specifically know which information you want to absorb, right? So if it is a Toastmaster setting, the information you want to absorb is the voices of the members. If it's in a professional setting, you want to absorb the pain point of your clients, how you can help your clients achieve their purpose. If it is a family setting, the information you want to absorb, it can be how they are doing, how they are feeling right now, what is the next step in your children's career or your children's education. So you want to begin with an end in mind, because if you just go in a conversation without beginning with an end in mind, you have so many things to absorb, and sometimes conversation, there's a lot of different other white noises, like sometimes when you converse with Thomas, he's talking so many lame jokes which are not even relevant. So if you go in without a clear focus, you'll be confused by me. So if you started out by going in with an end in mind that, hey, you know, I want to get to know Thomas better, then you know that is what you want to look out for. And you can block out the other noise, all right? So the first thing, how you can use the information is to begin with the end in mind, right? Second thing, I always believe that to build authentic relationship, it's about giving more than getting. I repeat that one more time because this is something that I practice and I believe very deep down. To build authentic relationship, focus on giving rather than getting. Many a times, especially in a business networking session, we will notice people are just handing out name cards, right? Hey, I'm a construction specialist, you know, contact me if you need to construct your toilet or something like that lah. They are just giving out name cards because they want to take in business. But it is truly my belief that we have to value add other people first before we are able to take something. Because the more we give, the more we shall receive, right? It is the law of reciprocity, in which, in a social situation, the person who gives the most is likely to get more in return because it is the best form of appreciation. So, how does this link to listening itself? When you are listening to the other person, listen out for what that person is trying to achieve. What is that person's goal? What is that person's inner purpose? And with this information, you will have crystal clear clarity about how you can give back to the person. So eventually, if you would need that person's help one way or another, the person will be more than open to give back to you. Right? So when we are listening, what we want to assess is what can we value add. Right? For example, for Jennifer, when I listen, I know that she is someone who wants friendship. She is someone who wants authentic relationship, which is why I'm always here for her. Right or not, Jennifer? Hey! Because I get that through my conversation with her. I don't just get it out of nowhere, right? I get that through my conversation with her. For Corey, I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, but you want to be here to be a better speaker. Yeah! Okay, that's lame, right? Everyone here wants to be a better speaker, right? Trick. But yeah, so how I can value add is to, you know, hope that I can share my knowledge or whatever experience I have with public speaking through her. And this is all possible because I have been listening to them speak. I've been listening to them share. And same for Joan. Joan is always so passionate about the movement because she wants to be better at it. She wants to be better in the craft of public speaking. And real life example, because I want to use this opportunity to thank Joan, because Joan have introduced me with a speaking opportunity with her child's school. So I really appreciate that. And I feel that this is only possible because we have built that relationship. Am I right to say so? Yes. So this is real life example of how reciprocity is in effect itself. Right? So always listen about how you can value add the other party. Yeah. And if one day I decided to deliver some durians to Buckley, I think it will make her very happy as well. Because that is what I always listen to her say, you know, durians. Yeah, so listen about how you can value add people. And just on a side note, when we talk about value adding people, a lot of people think that it is something which needs money. And that is not true. You do not need to give by giving money. It can be something as easy as giving a positive remark, as giving an appreciation, as giving a like on their Facebook post. But on a serious note, all of this can really help that person to feel acknowledged and appreciated, right? Okay, so the next point comes with listening so that you can speak in their language. Listening so that you can speak in their language. What do I mean by that? If you want someone to like you, they must feel that they are just like you. And so this is an advanced technique, and that is you want to mirror the way they speak, the way they act, the way they interact, right? Of course, it's not 100% replica, but if it is speaking to a group of people who are not so formal in the sense, then perhaps you should tone down a little bit. Because if you are very formal to a group of people who is perhaps not so formal, like currently right now in the Toastmaster setting late at night, this is a very family club, so we are not that formal in our proceeding, then we can tone down a little bit. But if we are in a context that is very professional, or if that person speaks in a way that is like very professional, you know some Toastmasters, right? Some of the senior Toastmasters, where like Toastmasters is their life, that kind, right? They can be like very professional, they speak like they are the CEO of Toastmasters lah, for the lack of better word. Then to those people, we have to be, slightly a bit more formal. We have to acknowledge them based on the very long titles they may have, although it's Toastmasters decorum. But in this setting, yes, you do it, it will make them happy. Because it is their way of speaking. It is their language. So we can only achieve this when we are able to effectively listening to their style. For example, when it comes to Li Xian, I always speak to her in a way that is like very like joking manner, because she is someone who loves such humor. But I hope she appreciates my humor lah, not like behind this Thomas right. So that is how I speak to her. And when it comes to Jennifer, okay, I know this word may be a little bit controversial, but I cannot think of another word. But when it comes to Jennifer, right, I will speak in a way that's a little bit more flirtatious. Sorry, I lack of a better word lah, okay? But we are amazing friends, okay? But that is our language, that's our way of speaking, right? And when it comes to Buckley, that's a very professional. Yeah, exactly like what CJ Lin, hot mama. And when I speak to CJ, it will be in a motivational manner, because CJ, he is a very motivational person, right? You can see his quotes, you can see his energy whenever he's doing table topics. And that is precisely my point. That is, when you are communicating with people of different languages, you have to communicate in their language so that you can connect with them. Okay, I see LE comment by Angela. Bantering, but not many people know what bantering is, Angela. Apologies. And yes, whenever I speak to Angela, it will be in a very formal British way, because that is the way we roll, right, Angela? See, get it? Yeah, exactly, right. So this is a real life demonstration. Speak in a way that mirrors the other person. Of course, it is not asking all of you to be inauthentic. That is different. But it's asking all of you to match accordingly. So it is still you doing it. Just that you are doing it in a way that's complementary, so that you are able to connect with them better. And this is only possible through effective listening. Because if you don't do it, it will not allow you to understand that person's style of speaking, that person's styles of communication. All right. And the next usage of effective listening, okay. So I'm not sure if any of you have ever interacted with this kind of people where you speak to them, they can reply you for hours and hours and hours. You just ask them a single question and they're going to how do all of you feel in that situation, right? Yeah, I see like Alicia, boom. Okay, and that's the thing, because sometimes I understand we may be very enthusiastic in sharing what we know, but if we go to the extent where we are depriving the other person the opportunity to speak, they will feel that they are not being acknowledged, they will feel that they are not respected, and they will feel that you are just talking about yourself but not taking into my point of view, which is Another reason why we should practice effective listening. And back to the example that I have stated right at the start, Nelson Mandela. So how did he learn the concept about learning to speak last? So when he was young, his father is also a tribal chief. His father would bring him to the tribal meeting. So he noticed two things. They would sit in a circle and the father will always be the last to speak. And why is it so? Because by being the last to speak, the father acknowledged the opinions of all the different members of the tribe. And not only that, he will have a clearer perspective of the whole situation. And he also introduced the concept of free speaking. Because if someone who is highly respected, highly revered, just started speaking right from the start, chances are there may be people who will feel intimidated, especially those with a differing opinion. Like, for example, when Queen Buckley speaks, we may feel intimidated. I'm just kidding. But you get my point of view. That's why as leaders, we should speak last as well. So we get in the point of views of everyone. We can assess accordingly. Everyone will feel acknowledged. Right? When they feel acknowledged, they feel respected, and that's how you can build strong relationship. Okay? And now, moving on to the next point. Why and how we can use effective listening is that when we listen, it opens up other people. That is a very strong skill, opening up other people. Because strong, authentic relationship comes when the person is willing to open up to you, willing to share their vulnerabilities, willing to share their failures, willing to share some of the weaknesses they may have, right? Because at the end of the day, humans are creatures of communication. We love to share. It is not comfortable to hold on to those negative feelings, to hold on to those failures, to hold on to those flaws. But why people don't want to share is because they are afraid that they will be embarrassed. They are afraid of being vulnerable. They are afraid of being mocked at. But if you are respectful, if you are an effective listener, they will open up to you. They will share some of their vulnerabilities. They will share some of their hesitation. And at that point in time, you can truly get to know them. And you can also consider to share some of your vulnerabilities, because that will increase the trust even more, right? And that's why we can see that there are very close group of friends who they say, oh, there are no secrets between us. And this is the reason why, because they pour their heart out. But to first allow someone to pour their heart out to you, you must be an effective listener. Because if you are not an effective listener, they won't think that you are someone who's approachable. They would hesitate to share things with you. And when they hesitate to share things with you, you are not able to connect with them. Right? So by being an effective listener, you are also encouraging people to open up to you. Right? Good? So far, so good? Right. And I know all of you are very effective listeners, but good to give some engagement as well. So I know that none of you are sleeping still. Haha, yes, actually, kushala, appreciate it. All right, okay, thank you everyone for following through so far. But we are just halfway through. Because I got so much to share with all of you. And the best way for me to thank all of you for being here today is to share as much as I can. Yeah? Okay. Okay, so what is next? Okay, so when it comes to listening effectively, right, what is also important for the usage of effective listening is to be able to convert it to the way we speak. What do I mean by that? Because now you have taken in all this information, right? How are you going to use this information to achieve what you want? For example, if it is in the situation of sales itself, right? Because absorbing the information is just the first part. Now we have to look into the conversion of the information itself. So for those of you who are perhaps in sales, right, after absorbing the information, the pain point of the clients, asking the right question, remember part of effective listening is asking the right question. How are you going to use that information to achieve your purpose? That is the next part of effective listening. The first part, what we talk about, is absorbing the information. But now it's about how we can internalize this information so that we can use this information to value add others and to also achieve our purpose at the same time. So this is the question you want to ask yourself. Like for example, in a Toastmaster setting, when you get the opinions, when you listen to the opinions of the members itself, it is not effective to just stop at listening. Effective listening comes in a whole package when it comes with us taking action as well, right? So this is something for you to consider, that at the end of the day, you don't want to just listen and take no action. You want to listen and take action at the same time, because if you don't take action, then you will, firstly, nothing will be solved. Secondly, you do not know if your ideas or if your perspective is accurate or it truly appeals to the people. Because only when you take action, then you can see, is it solving the situation? Is it helping your client? Is it value adding them? If it is not, feel free to tweak accordingly, right? But we can only know when we take action. Don't just think about it. Take action on it. Because only when you take action, that's when you can tweak, right? So aside from just absorbing information and processing it, you have to take action on it. Because if you don't take action, it will just be blank information, right? So when we put listening into the Toastmaster setting, where is it most applicable? Key into the chat. Where is it most applicable? To you, to your perspective.
Evaluation.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. Asking questions to engage even, Corey. Yes. Right. So as you can see, even in Toastmasters itself, there are many different applications of effective listening. All right. So to share it in a Toastmaster setting for the next part, evaluation itself. How can active listening helps, right? Most of you probably have done evaluation before, right? So it comes in the sense of listening to the person's content, right? Is it smooth flowing? Does it have a call to action? Are the vocabularies able to trigger your visualization and emotions? Right? These are all the content itself. How about the delivery? I know delivery, sometimes people may think that it is just visual, but no, because the way they speak is under delivery as well. Are they using vocal variety to breathe life into the speech itself? Are they reenacting the different characters? Are they able to exude the different emotions through the voice? All this can only be done through effective listening, right? And as most of you should know, when it comes to evaluation, there are two parts to it: the commendations and the recommendations, right? So you want to assess it based on what went well, and what you feel can be improved. And sometimes people will ask me this question: what if that speaker is so amazing already, like Buckley? How can you find areas of improvement for Buckley? How can you do that, right? How can you do that? Well, my opinion is compare her to someone who you feel is even better, right? Because there is always someone who's even better. So I will compare Buckley to Tony Robbins. So how to bring Buckley to Tony Robbins level, right? So at least now you know what are some of the recommendations you can give her. Because sometimes I do understand some speeches, they are super difficult to evaluate. And this is a situation of how. And yes, like what CJ mentioned, compare Lee to world champion of public speaking. But this year she's going to be the world champion of public speaking, then we cannot use that comparison already. Right? And as Corey mentioned earlier also about asking questions to engage the audience. Yes, that's right. When we ask questions to engage the audience, we also need to see the demographics of the audience. We need to be listening to what the audience is saying, right? Because only by doing so, then we are able to curate content accordingly. So some of you may have come across Toastmasters who share on topics such as quantum physics or some very complicated PhD concept. Well, I do appreciate their knowledge sharing, but if you were to listen to the audience and if you were to observe the demographics of the audience, it may not exactly be a good fit in terms of value adding them. I see Lee has suddenly turned on her video camera, maybe because she's a PhD student. Apologies for that, apologies. Guilty as charged. I'm just joking. You see, but Lee is a perfect example. You know, she's someone who's so smart, right? But the content she shares is always very relatable. You know, she's such a down-to-earth person. She's even able to emulate the noise of a chicken. That shows how, how flexible she is, right? So this is only possible if we have been actively listening, because sometimes we feel that the content we share will be able to appeal to the people, but it may not be the case itself, right? Because what we feel appeal to us may not be what is appealing to others. And that's very important, because at the end of the day, when we speak, when we are on stage, it is the audience we want to value add. It is the audience that we want to benefit with our speech itself. Yes, we can become a more confident speaker, we can become a more powerful presenter, but at the end of the day, we want to speak for the audience. And that's why when it reaches to even a higher level, some of the champion speakers even go to different clubs to do a similar speech so they can gather feedback. They will have survey form for everyone. They won't just have a single evaluator, but they will have everyone as their evaluator, because they want to listen to the opinions of everyone, right? And sometimes by listening to the opinions of everyone, they will know which part of their message resonates with the audience, which part is not so resonating. And that's why some champions, they adjust their speech in different countries. For example, for King Feng, District 80 Triple Crown champion, before that, he used the concept of a shuttlecock. But he realized that does not appeal to the person in the West, right? I'm not sure, Angela, before you came to Singapore, do you play badminton in Britain? Oh, you do? Okay, but apparently it is not as appealing in some of the Western countries. So I'm not sure how true is that, because I have not been to the Western country, but he wanted something that is more appealing. So he converted it into a ball. I guess a ball is more popular than badminton, right? Yeah, so he wants something that is more prominent. Yeah, and in Singapore, badminton is more prominent because it is kind of like the sport that our parents want us to learn when we are younger. Okay, but anyway, yeah, so that's why we have to cater to the content accordingly. Even for Darren Tate, right? The underwear brand he wears is specifically Calvin Klein. Because no one in America knows what is Giordano, G2000, Forever 21, but they know what is Calvin Klein, which is why underwear, which is part of his speech, he used a Calvin Klein underwear. So this is the level they go. And they are only able to do this through effective listening and assessment. Because if they don't do that, they are not able to understand. And this is applicable for the different areas of our life itself, be it professionally, be it on a personal level, be it in terms of a relationship, business, whatsoever. We really need to exercise all this effective listening, right? Stay emotionally grounded, get the opinions of different sources, and ask questions so that you can extract the right answer. So from there, what you are able to do is to speak in the language of the other person, allow them to feel acknowledged and respected, allow them to open up to you, share their vulnerabilities with you, and you know what to take action on, which is the most important. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm running out of time because we started a little bit late. But if any of you have any questions, now I think we can have a Q&A segment. And even after today, if you have any question, feel free to reach out to me through my social media platform, and I will certainly love to value add you as much as I can. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, any questions?
I have a question, Thomas.
Yes,
You
Joan.
spoke about emotional groundedness and how you have to be emotionally grounded. And I've truly, this morning itself, I went through that incident that my mind was somewhere else and I was not effectively listening because I was not emotionally grounded. So then what do you do for that? How do you emotionally ground yourself before being actively involved in listening?
Excellent question. In fact, to be very honest, that is one of the most difficult one out of all the different tips that I share with you. Reason being, because at the end of the day, humans are creatures of emotions. The first thing when we are born into this world, what we do? We cry, correct? So even before we mature, we already have all these emotions. It is nature over nurture. But that is something we can control. So back to your question is, there are a few things you can do. Firstly, is always go in with the mindset that emotions are not solutions. Emotions are not solutions. And it applies with regardless of which area of our life. Because regardless of how negative we feel, we are not able to solve the problem. Regardless of how angry we feel, we are not able to build the relationship. And to take it on a flip side, regardless of how positive we feel, we are also not able to help with the situation itself, which is why the top performers in this world, they have the ability to be emotionally grounded. They can face a major failure in their life, but the next day is back to work for them. Or they can face major success, next day is back to work for them. A very good example is recently Elon Musk. He became the richest man in the world for a while before he dropped again. But when he reached the status of the richest man in the world, do you know what he said? Oh, interesting, back to work. That is how emotionally grounded he is. Even by being the world richest person, he is not influenced by it, right? So that is the first thing to take note. Second thing is give yourself time and space. The last thing we want to do is to act in the heat of the moment itself. And that is how a lot of conflicts, quarrels, and misunderstanding happen. And even right now, I am still guilty of it. So I am not a superhuman. We can only get better at it, but we cannot totally eliminate it. But the first step, which you have already done it, is awareness. So I'm very glad that, Joan, you have the awareness, because that is the first step. Many of us, especially those who have anger management issues, it is because they don't have the self-awareness. It is not that they are deliberately trying to be the Incredible Hulk. It is just that they truly don't have that awareness itself. And that's why they don't know the way they act is affecting so many people. So you have already taken a big step forward already, and that is you have that self-awareness. Well done on that. The next two things to take note of is that emotions are not solutions, and you want to give yourself time and space. Yeah, feel free to grieve. Really, feel free to grieve. Sometimes we need to cry. We need to spend a day crying, letting everything out, and then next day we go back to normal. Give yourself a timeline, right? Don't just hold it in there. In fact, it's very unhealthy. And to take it to an extreme, unfortunately, a lot of people, they do a lot of self-harm activities because they can't find an avenue to release, right? And that's why there are comedians who commit suicide. Although we see that these comedians have been always so happy, always so positive, always telling jokes, but why do they commit suicide? Because they don't have an effective avenue to release. So it is totally fine to cry. It's totally fine to let it go, right? So these are things that you want to take note of. Give yourself time and space, and know that emotions are not solutions. Hope that answers.
Thomas, I have a question.
Yes, Kanan.
I think that effective listening is directly correlated to the speaker's ability to connect with the audience. Think of a boring speaker, even though we want to listen to him completely, even though I want to listen to him effectively, if the speaker is not able to connect with the audience, we will not be able to do the listening properly. Am I right?
All right, very good question. Okay, before I answer Kanan's question, because I just seen a comment from Jennifer, which relates to the previous question, that it's also okay for men to cry. Exactly. Do you all know when Gordon Ramsay, you all know who's Gordon Ramsay? Gordon, thumbs up if you all know who's Gordon Ramsay. That guy who always screamed in the kitchen. When he lost his Michelin star, he cried. So you would think that what? Someone who is like screaming, so arrogant, full of confidence and proudness, who will cry? Someone who is so successful, who will cry? Yes, crying is okay, even for men, right? Even for Gordon Ramsay, right? So now to Kanan's question, and yes, that is exactly why we have to be effective listener, right? So it is easy to be an effective listener if the other person is a good speaker. But the true test of how you can be an effective speaker is, an effective listener is being able to listen to a speaker who is work in progress, but yet you are still able to capture the message. And I can say one person who is that is Buckley, because I've seen her evaluated, maybe I think it's an outside club and other speaker. I seen her evaluated a 20-minute speech, if I'm not wrong. And the speaker was like monotonous, man. And I can see Buckley trying her very best. And she managed to deliver an amazing evaluation from there. So the true test, right, of being an effective listener, right, doesn't come when we are listening to great speakers, but come when we are listening to speaker in progress. And at the end of the day, listening is just like any other skill. It is something which requires refinement, development, and growth. And that's why Toastmasters is a perfect setting when it comes to evaluation, especially. That's why I would encourage all of you to take up evaluation when you don't have any roles, because evaluation will enhance our listening skills. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Sometimes during Toastmasters, I will zone out. I will space out. But when I am an evaluator, strangely that doesn't happen. I will become super focused. Because if I don't focus, I will not be able to absorb the content and not be able to deliver evaluation that is worthwhile for the speaker, right? So that is one way to train your listening skills. And the other way is to really have more conversations with people, right? When you have conversations with people, that is how you can train your listening skills. And you can be introvert. I know when I say this, right, people will not believe it, but believe it or not, I am an introvert. So I do love to be in my quiet space at one corner, but sometimes when I have to go into a speaker mode, I can convert into the self at all. But even as an introvert, feel free, yes, thanks Jennifer, and yes, thanks Corey. Feel free to engage in conversation, then you do less speaking, more asking, and more listening. So back to Kanan's question, take it as a challenge, right? Because we can't really influence how the speakers speak. We can give a very positive feedback and we can give a very constructive feedback for the speaker to do better. But it's great that you brought that up, because the fact that you brought that up means that you notice that the speaker wasn't effectively engaging the audience. And you can only have done so because you, Kanan, is an effective listener as well. Well done on that.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah, yes. Hi, Kushala.
Yeah. You also said while listening, you need to be able to mirror their language or mirror so that they become comfortable with your reaction. But there's also the border where you become fake or not your personality. So how do you be aware of both of those and then try to get the best of that communication?
Very, very, very great question. So what you want to do or how you can align this, right, is to firstly not overly dramatize it. Firstly, not overly dramatize it. You still need to be your personal self, just that you are using a complementary style and content. If you feel that the style may be so-called artificial, then you can use content, right? So for example, Alicia loves music. So my content will be more music-based. Corey loves to do website. So I speak to her with the website language, you know, the HTML and the whatsoever, which is true, right? You know, remember our conversations we had? I asking you about the website. Like, just give a thumbs up, lah.
Yeah, I do make a website and apps lah, but I cannot coding.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So website. So for her situation, I will speak more on website. So I am still that Thomas, still that authentic Thomas, but I mirror in terms of content. So if you feel that mirroring in terms of style maybe a little bit artificial, then you can mirror in terms of content, because content is up to us to create, but we want to speak into their language. So for me, right, how I do all these different things but not feel inauthentic at the same time, right, is I also align with my inner purpose. Because at the end of the day, my inner purpose is that I want to connect with them. It is not because I want to put on an artificial front to make myself look good, but it's because I want to get to understand them better. Which is why there are some celebrities who do missionary work, who do volunteering. And when they do volunteering, they don't wear in their suit and tuxedo. They wear clothes that are simple because they want to connect with the people there. Similarly for us. So back to the point that speak the similar content and always remember your inner purpose of doing it. And that's how you feel that it will not be artificial. Hope that answers.
Thomas, I have a question.
Yes, Corey.
Yeah, you mentioned about assessment. Do you have any like practical tips or advice how to have a better assessment skill or how to sharpen our comprehensive skill?
Great question. Okay, so at the end of the day, like what she's talking about is the second part. After we absorb all the content already, right, assess it accordingly. Okay, so from assessment wise, right, when we absorb the content, there are a few things we need to take note of. Okay, what the content is about, who said it, when it was delivered, and why it was delivered. So let me give all of you an example. For example, in a professional setting, right? If, let's say in Corey's situation that she is doing a website for a client, right? If that person who is saying is not a decision maker, then perhaps while the information may be accurate, it may not be 100% representative, right? So she has to approach the decision maker to get a clearer idea. What is it about? The technicalities behind it, right? Is it about the design? Is the priority about the design or the content or the outreach? That is the what, right? The when is also very important because, for example, in different situations, the content may be comprehended differently. So for example, now it's going to be Chinese New Year. So the content for like website and information may be more holiday based, right? Or out of a professional setting, in a so-called a professional setting, the content will be different from an informal setting, right? And another one is the why, the reason why the person is saying it. Is it because they truly want an amazing website, or is the inner purpose more of bringing in customers and they feel that the website is the platform to do so? So these are the certain angles you want to look at: the who, the what, the when, the why. So by doing so, right, you can have a clearer framework of the assessment. And it also comes with practice itself, because this is a skill that we need to constantly learn, that we need to constantly assess. And the more of such people you interacted with, the more you get to understand them, right? They will have the same demographics, they will have the same priorities one. Like for example, for me, when I work with senior adults, senior people, their priority is usually more of like a retirement. Like what am I going to do during my retirement? Do I have enough money for retirement? Or when I work with younger adults, it will be, do I have enough money to buy a house? Do I have enough money to feed a family? There will always be highly similar language. So the more people you interact with, especially of that similar demographics, the more you can understand what is behind their mind. So this comes with practice as well. Hope
Yeah,
that
perfect
answers.
answer. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey.
Thomas, I have a question.
Yes, Hannah.
Okay, so while trying to say assess people or understand what they're saying, I often end up projecting myself onto them instead of seeing them as they are.
Sorry, can you repeat one more question? Repeat again.
I mean, like while trying to assess or understand people, I often find myself, projecting myself onto them instead of understanding them as they are.
That is an amazing perspective. All right, so before that, let me answer Jennifer's question. Jennifer's question asked me, what is behind Jennifer's mind? Jennifer, the answer to that, right, behind your mind, right, is Thomas Chen. Hey. Okay, I'm just teasing, I'm joking. Okay, so back to Panav's question. And yes, that is a very good question because I'm not sure any of you have experienced this before. Sometimes when people who are like very negative in their comments, right, more often than not, they deep down is a very negative person, or they feel that you are a very negative person, right? Deep down, they are actually the negative person because that is their way of thinking, right? Or sometimes when they feel that, wow, that person is very selfish, but they themselves is also very selfish also. So that is a very accurate assessment by Panav itself. Sometimes we project our image onto other people and we feel that they are just like us subconsciously, or they are just like who we don't want to be. That will also happen. So it brings back to the whole idea of effective listening in terms of being emotionally grounded, in terms of being clear, in terms of understanding their inner purpose. Because sometimes we may feel that person have bad intentions or that person is arrogant, but it may not truly be the case itself. So you can only have this clear assessment by, firstly, like what I mentioned, emotionally grounded. And another thing which I mentioned earlier is to get perspective from multiple people. If that person you feel is not so good to work with, subtly extract information from other people who he have worked with before. Because sometimes it's our perception, but other people may have an amazing experience with him, right? So that is something you want to bring into account. Then you can ensure whether is it a clear, objective assessment on your side, right? So back to being emotionally grounded. Secondly, get opinions of other people to have a holistic point of view. Good? All right, anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes,
Thomas, last
please.
question. My
No
last question.
worries, ask as much as you want.
Why and how are you so energetic and smiling every day? I always find you so fresh. So this is nothing to do with effective listening, but effective observation from my side.
No, but it's you listening to the way, I mean, that is also part of you listening to my vibes and the content I share. That's you practicing
I've seen
active
you
listening.
always smiling,
Very,
laughing,
very accurate.
and energetic. How do you seem to have that
Okay,
shiny,
so
energetic face?
all right. Thanks for asking. And I see my time is up, but this is going to be a bonus content for all of you. And this is something that I truly want to practice with all of you. I've shared this concept with some people such as Pranav already, but this is going to be a life-changing concept. Okay? At the end of the day, you want to identify what your inner purpose is. What is that inner why? Because when you identify that inner why and you connect everything you do in your life to that, you are going to be determined, driven every single day. A lot of people, they face things such as midlife crisis or burnout because they are doing things that are not aligned with their inner purpose. Think about it. Elon Musk, with what he accomplished, do you think he ever suffered from burnout? I doubt so. But most human at his level will probably have even, like, may have already quit the job already. Because it is his inner purpose to revolutionize, to change mankind history. So what is your inner purpose? And how do you find that inner purpose? Ask yourself, right now, what do you want to achieve badly? Want to achieve very badly, and you deep dive all the way to the emotional reason. Let me give you an example myself. I want to be an international speaker. So why do I want to be an international speaker? Because I want my content and message to reach out to more people. So why do I want my content and message to reach out to more people? Because I want to impact them, because I want to transform them, I want to value add them. Whenever I deliver a workshop and I see the satisfied face on the people, I feel amazing. So all of you, you want to make me feel amazing, you know what to do. Huh? But that's a very true story. That is really a very true story. When I see that amazing emotion, I feel fulfilled, I feel significant, I feel amazing. And the inner purpose is one step before that emotional reason. So the emotional reason is I felt very fulfilled, I felt very significant, I felt that I am of use, in fact, to be very direct. So one step before is impact. Whenever I impact people, I feel that way. So everything I do, right, will align with impact itself. Be it delivering this workshop, be it studying more, my profession, even fitness itself. I link everything to impact. So my weakest point, to be very open, is fitness, as you all can see for my roundness itself. But when I link fitness to impacting people, right, I am more motivated to start keeping fit. So how do I link fitness to impacting people? Well, because if I am not fit, right, I will not be able to speak energetically. I'm not able to conduct workshops after workshops after workshops. I'm not able to speak at this timing in this manner. So I know I need to keep at least a minimum amount of fitness. I can still eat my fried food and fried youtiao, but at least, keep myself a bit fit so that I can have this energy and I can continue to impact people. Which is why, like Tony Robbins, right, he spent millions every year just on his health so that he can continue to speak on stage for marathon-like hours. So back to John's question is, we need to identify what's that inner purpose of yours, right? Then link every areas of life to the inner purpose, right? So you will be very determined and driven to do all these different activities. So through my coaching experience, right, people have inner purpose such as they want to have breakthroughs, or some of them they want to enjoy freedom, or some of them they value relationship. So identify the inner purpose of yours, link everything to the inner purpose, you will be amazingly motivated every single day.
Wow.
Like you, yes.
Thank you, Toastmaster Thomas Chen. Everyone, if you could please unmute your mic and join me in thanking Toastmaster Thomas Chen. Woohoo! Thank you for sharing with
Thank
us
you.
your very effective and enlightening workshop. Effective listening, how to cut through the different noise and distractions to capture the main essence of the message. And now, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, what better way than to test whether you have been listening or not? Okay, so let's do something fun for a few minutes before we go for a break. If you can please unmute your mic, feel free to answer or speak up when I ask you these questions. In a lot of Toastmaster meetings, we have Heartmaster or the listening post, where someone would listen throughout the meeting and then ask you questions at the end to test whether you have been listening. Are you ready for the challenge?
Yes.
Yes, excellent. I'll just ask you questions relating to Thomas's workshop. Okay? He mentioned 3 C's for effective listening to happen. What were the 3 C's?
Emotion.
Content, complete, and congruous.
Congruent. Well done. Thank you, Angela. That's 1 point to you. The winner at the end of the day will have a very special gift. The one and only. There's only one in this world. Okay, I have to send it to you virtually though. Yeah. So well done, Angela. And to achieve effective listening, we have to be emotionally grounded. We have to go straight to the point by asking multiple questions. And what was the last point that he mentioned? Emotionally grounded, go straight to the point, and
Take action.
take action. Excellent. But also to get information from multiple sources. In another word, to get different perspectives. Well done, Kushala. And now I will ask you some tricky questions, okay, just to see whether you were listening. What did the District 80 Triple Crown champion Ng King Fong, what did he use instead of the shuttlecock?
All.
Ball, excellent. Ooh, Angela was first off the mark. Well done. What about the brand name of the underwear that the 2006
Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein? Well done. Humans are creatures of. Humans are creatures of
Emotions.
emotions. Well done. And who said, "Ah, interesting. Now back to work," when he was named the richest man in the world?
Elon Musk.
Oh,
Elon Musk.
see, what a wonderful crowd you have been. You have been actively listening. And now for the bonus, as in, well, hopefully I can send this to you after, the COVID-19 lockdown is over. What was the bonus content that Thomas shared with us? What was his key message, bonus content that he shared with us?
Inner purpose.
That's right. Identify your inner purpose and connect everything you do with it. Well done, everyone. And thank you, Toastmaster Thomas Chen, for your wonderful workshop. You are truly an international speaker who connects your content and your message with everyone. Don't worry, about the fitness part. I hear you. Okay. So let's have a new year resolution and a new month resolution, as in we'll keep fit next month. Thank you, Toastmaster Thomas Chen, and thank you, everyone. You have been a wonderful audience. And give yourself cheer. Woohoo! And now, before we move on to the second segment of tonight's meeting, which is the prepared speech segment, we'll go for a quick 10-minute break. We will resume at, I have to work out the time, 10 minutes time from now. Madam Timer, if you could please help us keep time. In the meantime, okay, everyone, have a stretch. Keep yourself refreshed and then come back for the next exciting segment. See you soon, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of tonight's meeting, the prepared speech segment. You will hear from 4 speakers tonight sharing their thoughts on the Pathways projects that they are completing. Before we begin, let's just look at some of the secret recipes from earlier on to build our self-confidence. CJ, would you like to share with us what your secret recipe is on building self-confidence?
Sorry, Lee, can you repeat again?
Sure. Today's meeting theme is about confidence. Okay? So what I've done at the beginning of the meeting was to ask everyone what your secret recipe is to build your self-confidence. Would you like to share with us or give us some hints on what your secret recipe is?
Oh, my secret recipe is to practice, practice, and practice. Practice makes perfect, and it will boost up your confidence.
Well,
Back
thank
to you, Lee.
you. Yeah, thank you, CJ, for sharing with us. Practice makes perfect, everyone. And now, are you ready for this prepared speech segment? Our first speaker tonight is Toastmaster Corey Milani. She will be speaking from Presentation Mastery, Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals, and is the first speech in the evaluation and feedback. May I please ask her evaluator, Toastmaster Joan D'Souza, to read out her speech objectives?
The purpose of Corey's speech is to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. The purpose of her speech is to present a speech, and receive feedback from the evaluator. To you, Corey.
Thank you, Toastmaster John, for your for reading out the purpose statement of her projects. May I please remind Corey to pin the timer for her speech? Her speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. The green light will be shown at 5 minutes, the yellow light at 6, and the red light at 7 minutes. Toastmaster Corey is a passionate product designer who loves to design usable and delightful products, whether it's an app or a website that helps people in their daily lives. In her free time, she loves to find the best coffee in town, traveling and exploring new places and food, as well as taking photographs. Her favorite quote is, "Never stop learning because life never stops teaching." Did you know that the largest annual human migration in the world usually happens around Chinese New Year, as millions of people in China travel home for the festive season? For many, it may be the only opportunity for them to visit their families all year round. Tonight, Toastmaster Corey will share with you some aspects or some facts about this festive season. Now, I would like you to take note and see how many of these facts you know. Please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Corey Milani with 8 facts you should know about Chinese New Year. 8 facts you should know about Chinese New Year, Toastmaster Corey Milani.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lee. Before that, let me test my screen sharing first. Sorry. Can all of you can see my screen? Okay,
Yes.
sure. So amazing day to fellow Toastmaster and guests. Chinese New Year date is always changing every year. Any of you know another term for Chinese New Year? Please raise your hand. Okay, I can give you a hint. It's also called ... festival. Any of you know? What is it called? What festival? It's very easy. Okay, it's also called a spring festival. It marks the beginning of the spring. Indeed, it's a festival in the spring, hence the name. The celebration lasts for 15 days till Lantern Festival. 1/6 of the world people celebrate it. Each year is a rotation of 12 animals in the Chinese horoscope, and 2021 is the year of metal ox. According to Feng Shui, to increase your luck, you are advised to wear metal accessories. And the lucky colors for this year are yellow and greens. It is believed 2021 is a year when all problems get solved with discipline, a lot of discipline. So now let's dig into 8 facts you should know about Chinese New Year. First, okay, auspicious food. Asian culture are full of symbolism, especially when it comes to Chinese New Year. Every celebratory dish or treat exists for a reason. The famous festival food is dumpling. Dumpling represent wealth because of their close appearance to Chinese gold ingots, which were used as a currency in Imperial China. Some family will hide a coin inside one of the dumplings, so whoever received that dumpling is believed to have a prosperous year. In addition to that, you'll see fish in almost every meal on Chinese New Year menu. In Mandarin, the word for surplus, yi, is a homophone of fish, yi. There is also an idiom, nian nian yu yi, which means to have surplus every year. Second fact, auspicious fruits. The Hokkien consider certain fruit to be auspicious, particularly pineapple. Ong lai in the Hokkien dialect, which literally means fortune come. Hence, the pineapple is often incorporated into Chinese New Year. Snack and also decorations. Another auspicious fruit is mandarin orange. That's because the Chinese word for Mandarin come sounds similar to the word for go. So having Mandarin orange around at home at Chinese New Year is said to bring riches into your life. Let's dig into third fact, which is auspicious traditions. One of the most symbolic practice of the Chinese New Year festive is a red packet. I have one with me. If you can see, this is the word "fu." Actually, this is the red packet that I designed a few years ago. Yeah, it looks like this now for my previous company. So just now, yeah, we are talking about the red packet, Hong Bao or Ang Bao. For centuries, the Chinese have passed down this tradition of giving Ang Bao to their offspring. Today, it has evolved to not only just giving it to your own children, but also to young relatives and juniors. In Singapore, the married adults are expected to give out Ang Bao to their unmarried relative of the younger generation. Over time, the culture of Ang Pao giving has also extended to become a way of expressing filial piety. For example, the Ang Pao is given to parents and grandparents to show your love and appreciation for them for raising you. The fourth, auspicious color. Red is the Chinese good luck color. Like today, I'm wearing red. It's believed to scare away the spirit of bad fortunes. Chinese usually wear red or other bright color clothes on Chinese New Year Day. In Chinese culture, black or white is the symbol meaning of mourning and death. This could be not appropriate to wear during Chinese New Year. Fifth is the auspicious greeting. 新年快乐 is one of the most used greetings. This is like Westerners saying, Merry Christmas to each of you on the Christmas day. This means a Happy New Year. Nian is the Chinese word for year. In Chinese folk culture story, Nian is a fierce and cruel monster, which eat livestock and kids. But it is scared of a rat and cracker sound. Therefore, people use the red decorations, give away red envelopes to kids, and light up the fireworks to drive away the nian. 6. Auspicious decoration. Chinese often hang red lanterns in front of the door, which is believed to drive off the bad luck. Another is the fu, meaning a fortune or good luck. During the time of Spring Festival, almost every family in China will hang the word fu. Actually, this is the word fu. That means blessings. So when we give this, actually we give blessings. So the family in China normally they will hang the word fu upside down, believing that doing so will cause a good fortune to literally descend down into their house. The 7th is auspicious plant. Lucky bamboo is the Chinese symbol for strength. Pussy willow and plum blossom signify the start of the spring. Tangerine trees represent lucky tree bearing fruit and are great for ushering in wealth. 8. Auspicious number. 8 is the most auspicious number because of the shape twin O placed vertically. And it's also a fact that 8 pa sounds similar to the word grow, fa. Hence, in giving ang pao or red envelope, it will be best to give an amount that has number 8 in it. Since 8 is a lucky number, the Chinese New Year meal often consists of 8 courses, if you realize. So I hope you learn a few things about Chinese New Year. And as a closing, I will teach you the famous greeting. The hint, let's do this together. Your left hand making a stone and your right hand covering it. Then we can say together, 恭喜发财，万事如意. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. 恭喜发财，万事如意. I wish you wealth. I wish you wealth and prosperity. Good luck in everything. Okay, thanks. Back to you, Toastmaster Lee.
Thank you, Toastmaster Corey. Thomas beat me to it. I was going to say Hong Bao Na Lai. Thank you for sharing with us the 8 auspicious food, fruits, tradition, color, greeting, decoration, plant, and number. For tonight, I will be single, so I am expecting 8 red packets with lots of 8. It could be 8,888, perhaps, dollars in the red packet. Thank you, Toastmaster Corey. 恭喜发财，新年快乐. And now the second speaker is Toastmaster Joan D'Souza. She will be speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Level 3 Increasing Knowledge Effective Body Language project. May I please invite her evaluator, Toastmaster Ahmad Nur Hasim, to read out the project purpose statement. Over to you, Toastmaster Ahmad.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lee Buckley. The purpose of this project is for the member to deliver speech with awareness of intention and intentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how she used nonverbal communication when delivering a speech. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster Lee.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ahmad Nur Hasim. May I please remind Toastmaster John to pin the timer? The timing of the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Again, the green light will be displayed at 5 minutes, yellow at 6, and the red light at 7 minutes. Toastmaster Joan D'Souza is an avid learner who constantly pushes her horizon. To her, the sky is the limit. For her speech tonight, she would like to focus on speaking with appropriate gestures as well as vocal variety. Please give a thunderous round of applause for Toastmaster Joan D'Souza with Connect Before You Correct. Connect Before You Correct, Toastmaster Joan D'Souza.
Thank you, Toastmasters of the day, and thank you, everyone. I would like to ask you a very deep question and give me a very true answer for it. Admit it, if you have truly engaged in destroying a relationship of yourself with someone else because you haven't understood that person very well. Raise your hand. Okay. Yes, I'm also a part of that group. I would like to share with you 2 stories today. How we can actually destroy a relationship with someone else just because we haven't understood that person very well. First story is with my own daughter, and second story is with a very good friend of mine. My first story is with my daughter. Having my first child, Andrea, when she was young, I had other obligations in my life. I was totally ambitious, as you can also perceive right now I am, right? So imagine like when I was in my early youth, how I was really bubbling with life and joy and very ambitious, wanted to achieve, and sky was the limit for me. And she gave me multiple hints to take her out, to take her for shopping, and do this and do a lot of activity. Ambitious that I was, I refused. Mom, let's just go out shopping. And I said, no, honey, I want to have this work and that work. I want to write my thesis paper. I have to submit this paper today, and so on. The conversations went on and on. What happened down the road? She grew up, and on one fine day, I opened the door and I could see a man standing with 4 cups of, guess what? We are in Singapore. I'm just giving you again another hint. Bubble tea. Big cups of bubble tea. This was right before her exam day. I was really being a very, just to again give you another hint, how I was a very powerful woman, right? I was very upset that she did not take my consent, and I just decided not to entertain that man. What did I do for that? I even Googled and I saw that it contained 25% caffeine each cup. So that would have been fine, my friends, if there wouldn't have been an exam next day. But just because there was an exam next day, I decided to tell that man, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take this 4 cups of bubble tea because this is not what I'd asked for. Rude that I may have sound, but for a mother, that was, I thought, was the most level-headed decision to take. The man left, but then we had a big melodrama in our house after that. Why? Because her purpose was to drink that 4 cups of bubble tea and study almost till midnight and do well for next day for exam. As a mother, I thought that was a wrong purpose. I wish I had attended Thomas Chen's meeting, or I had attended his workshop earlier, 3 or 4 years before, or maybe he would have been more energetic enough to offer this workshop 3, 4 years earlier, because I did not know how to effectively communicate then. So our purposes were the same. She wanted to do well in her exam. I wanted her also to do well in exam, but the pathway that we achieved was absolutely disastrous. She cried for an hour and I was very upset. What was the consequence? Next day, we had a drastic consequence. She didn't do well. She didn't do well for her exam. And she came home with a very sour mood. My friends, it's been 3 years for that incident, and I still regret my reactions for that. I still feel that, oh my gosh, if I could have effectively communicated, if I would have identified her purpose, my purpose, aligned with, and had a good effective communication, she would have done well. Anyways, my second story is with a good friend of mine. We had met a few days before a big event that we decided to co-chair together. So bubbly that I was, I said, okay, let's just co-chair together for a big festival which was supposed to be held in our children's school. It was an international fair. We were supposed to raise funds for our school. She kept calling me. She said, Joan, let's meet together and talk about our project. I kept procrastinating. As usual, how you know how I am, right? Always like on time, productive time. Let's use each and every minute productively. And I decided this was not a good use of time. I said, you know what, let's just wait. We will talk later. We will talk at our own leisure. And, but she was very bubbly and energetic, equally more. And she said, no, June, we have to just spend time and just have a more leisurely talk, not talk about project, but something else. And I, as usual, said, no, this is a waste of time. We can always talk about the project over the phone. What happened? Unfortunately, I was the treasurer of that project. I had the money power. And she wanted some money out of it later down the road for her own expenses, for something, but for the betterment of our fund, of our booth. I did not understand her purpose. I thought it was a waste. She said, Joan, I need this amount of money so that I can use it to buy something so that we can raise more funds. And I said, why do you need it? This is not the kind of expense that we really need to add to our booth. What happened in that process? Our purposes were the same. She wanted to raise funds. I also wanted to raise funds, but our purposes were just not matching. We were not effectively communicating with each other. What happened in that process? There was no smooth transition, and 3 years have passed, my friends, but we are still building up a relationship. Now, what is my message here to you? First thing, with my daughter, I did not spend enough time to understand her inner purpose. I did not spend time to connect with her. Second, with my own friend, I did not again spend enough time connecting with her to understand her purpose. So what is all this about? If you want to gain confidence, if you want to gain trust in your relationship, you have to first learn to connect. Connect well before you communicate. Humans, we all survive with success only when we connect well. in either in a career or in a personal lifestyle. If you want to make a big impact in the world, you have to first start in our own backyard. If I would have connected well with my child, I wouldn't have regretted 3 years down the road that why I did not do well. So that's why she did not probably get good marks in her that exam. If down the road, still 3 years, I regret for not communicating with my friend, and still my relationship with her is not very strong. So my friends, my message to you is learn to connect before you connect. Learn to connect, spend time with that person, connect in any ways what you want to connect with. Connect with effective listening, be empathetic, even do whatever you can, even connect with their own language. There's so many love languages out there, but connect even before you correct. So my friends, I would like to conclude by saying that connection is a transient, it's of conflict. So spend time in your relationship and make a difference in the world by building relationship through connection. Back to you, TMD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joan. Wow, what a powerful message indeed. Spend time to understand and connect before we correct. And what timely speech after Toastmaster Thomas's workshop tonight as well. And I'm so glad to see how you were able to link what we learned at the workshop with your speech. And just a reminder, 4 cups of bubble tea. Wow, I think I needed 10 cups of bubble tea to help me through the night when I studied. Thank you, Toastmaster Joan, for your wonderful speech tonight. Our third speaker is distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara. He will be presenting from the Innovative Planning Level 5, demonstrating expertise leading in your volunteer organization project. May I please ask his evaluator, Toastmaster CJ Lim, to read out the project purpose statement.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Lee. The purpose of this project is for the member to apply the skills needed to successfully lead in a volunteer organization. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his experience serving as a leader in a volunteer organization. Good luck, Kanan.
Thank you, Toastmaster CJ, for reading out the purpose statement. I can see that Toastmaster Sankara is, Kanan Sankara is ready. May I please remind him to pin the timer? Again, the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara loves to travel. He currently lives in Baltimore, Maryland, USA, with his wife Janaki Kanan. They have one son who is studying in Johns Hopkins. He started his Toastmasters journey in late 2012, eager to improve his speaking skills. He would like to give speeches without any preparation. His goal is to speak without any grammatical mistakes. Tonight, he will discuss the ethical issues surrounding the roles taken by Toastmasters officers. Hint, hint, all the Toastmasters officers out there. Please give a warm welcome to distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara with Ethical Issues in Volunteer Organization. Ethical Issues in Volunteer Organization, distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guest. During the senior grade, the kids in USA need to do some volunteering. The volunteering will help them to get a good school for their graduation, for their graduate school. So every student and the parents of a senior grade student will try to get them a volunteering opportunity so that they can get into a good school. The kids can work in the churches or temples or mosques or schools or wherever they could spend some 8 to 10 hours. One day I was visiting to our temple I saw some of the kids were doing very difficult, hard job moving furniture. In USA, the furniture movement need to be done by the efficient, strong people because it may hurt the back of the kids if you do not do it diligently. The kids were doing, I was very inquisitive. So after praying, I went to the administrator's office. I asked him why the kids are doing this hard job. He immediately said, they are volunteering. I said, this may hurt their back. We cannot ask them to do the furniture movement. Immediately he said, no, they will be working only for 1 hour maximum. But I told the administrator they should work minimum 8 hours. Yeah, but we will give the certificate as they work for 8 hours. I immediately felt upset because he is hinting me that they are going to give 8 hours certificate, and this may create a false confidence on the students that they can get away by doing 1 hour work and get 8 hours certificate. I did not like that. So while I was driving the car back home, I was telling my wife, this is an ethical issue. Immediately, my wife quipped, what you are doing in the Toastmasters? Are your officers are all working? Then it struck to me, I'm a member of 3 or 4 clubs. Some of the officers, in Toastmasters, the officer role is given to enhance your leadership. You can be an officer, you can get a leadership skill. You can get that by performing, you can get that experience. But some of the Toastmasters, I would not say everyone, are joining the officer's role just for the sake of the officer's role. They do not perform any roles. For example, a secretary must take the minutes of the meeting, should need to make sure that they record the agenda for the future use. But in some of the clubs, secretaries, I have not seen them doing any work. I don't want to name the people here, but I know that they wanted to get that officer role only for the purpose of the credit, but not doing any job. I think, fellow Toastmasters, if you are in any officer role, you need to perform the role. The roles are created so that you are able to experience that particular role. You need to perform so that you can gain that role. Just because you want to have the credit, please do not join your role and say, I have performed as a secretary, as a treasurer, as a VP PR, or as a VP membership. If you are a VP membership, your role is to make sure your club is getting the required membership. You are creating the plan. You need to make sure that you use your skills to create some plans to get the membership. If you are the VPPR, you need to make sure the club is being broadcasted in the social media. But in most of the places where I work, the officers are not doing any role. I feel this is an ethical issue within Toastmasters. I immediately also asked the Toastmaster International what audit they are doing to check whether the Toastmaster has really performed the officer's role. Fellow Toastmasters, I have been interacting with TA on various forums, so I asked this question in one of the forums. They said it is the club president who needs to make sure that all the officers are performing the role. I feel that sometimes this puts the president in an embarrassing situation because he or she may not be able to say particular officer did not perform the role efficiently. So fellow Toastmasters, let us all be ethical as we promised the Toastmaster International when we joined the membership. We need to make sure that we follow an ethical rule, and when we sign up any officer role, we need to perform the role, we need to gain the experience before getting the credit. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara, for sharing with us some insights into ethical issues that we experience in volunteer organizations. Okay, let me promise, Mr. Club President, I will perform my role better starting tomorrow. Okay, I will just have another break tonight, but from tomorrow, I will promise I will try to perform better. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara, for your wonderful speech. Our fourth speaker is Toastmaster Angela Lansbury. She will be speaking from the effective coaching path, and she will be giving her icebreaker for the path. May I please invite her evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara, to read out the project purpose statement.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. But Angela is a veteran speaker and she is giving the icebreaker to start a new path and she is not new to the speaking skills. So fellow Toastmasters, this is going to be icebreaker, but Angela has given many icebreakers. So I welcome her to give this speech again. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara. May I please remind Toastmaster Angela to pin the timer. The icebreaker speech is 4 to 6 minutes. 4 minutes will be the green light. The yellow light will be displayed at 5 minutes and the red light at 6 minutes. As what distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara mentioned, Toastmaster Angela Lansbury has completed 4 paths in Pathways: presentation mastery, engaging humor, dynamic leadership, and her most recent one, visionary communication. She is an author, an enthusiastic recycler, and a blogger. She also teaches English, business English, and conducts various workshops. Please put your hands together for Toastmaster Angela Lansbury with why and how to be an author. Why and how to be an author, Toastmaster Angela Lansbury.
Can everybody hear me now that I'm unmuted?
Yes, we can.
Good. There is a saying that everybody has a book in them. And I have a book in my jacket. And this book is This Is Your Life, the story of my mother's cousin, who is also my aunt. At least I call her my aunt. I think that you should write your life story. Hands up if you've written your life story and published it in a book like this. Nobody. As I was told by somebody in another speech, what you say is, not that I haven't done it, but I haven't done it yet. I hope you're going to do it because it will teach you so much. I'll tell you the reason why I chose to do it. I chose to write it for my auntie for her 90th birthday. I went up and down the high street looking at things I could buy her, none of which she wanted. And I knew that what she really liked was the family. And I thought of blowing up a picture, doing a cushion with a photograph. And then I looked at books and I thought what she would like would be a book about her life story. So I published this book and it has family photos at the back of it. The first version of it didn't have the photos. So one year, the first year I published the book on its own because I was in a hurry. And the following year I gave her the book with the photos. How did I do it? Every Sunday night, we would go out for a family meal and I would ask her a question about the family. For example, where did you go to school? What was your best subject? Did you have any little friends? Who were your teachers? Then I would sneak off into the ladies' toilet and I would write down what she told me in longhand. And when I got home that night, I would type it up. Then the following week, I would ask her something else. What did you do when you were a teenager? Did you go out to work? What sort of clothes did you buy? And I would be told that her mother bought her a fur coat just like her mother's, because in those days, fur was okay. And then the following week, I would say, what did you do in the wartime? And she told me how her mother opened a shop when they were evacuated and bought a set of pots and pans and gave them to all the shopkeepers nearby. And afterwards they had good meat for the rest of the war because her mother had been so forthcoming and taken the shopkeepers something they all wanted, which was pots and pans, which were very hard to get hold of, which she'd bought in the East End of London and taken back to the West End. At the end of the year, I had this book which I published, and she was absolutely astonished. She said, where did you get all this information from? I got the information from her. Now, you can do the same with your parents. What happened to her in the end? She lived to the grand old age of 94. By the end of her long life, she had Alzheimer's and she couldn't remember anything. If I had wanted to ask her about anything about her life from the age of 91 to 94, I wouldn't have got any answers. But because I had asked her when she was 90 and 91, I have this whole book of her life history. It was a book which she enjoyed and which we now have, telling us about her parents and her grandparents. Not only that, my son has got married early last year and they will be expecting a baby sometime late next year. And what is going to happen is I am going to be able to give my grandchild a book written by about her great-great-grandparents because I compiled this. Will you be able to do that for your grandchildren? Your parents who you take for granted, unfortunately, won't live forever. Some of them have already gone, but you've got aunties and uncles who might still be around. Every time you see a relative, make a note of what they can tell you because you have a book. It might not seem very unusual, the things you have, but you've only got to look around this room to see how different people's lives are. One family is celebrating Chinese New Year, another is from India. We are all different, and your story is not the same as anyone else's, and your grandchildren and your children will absolutely love it. I'm on an ancestry site and I am finding relatives of mine who have got the family history and I'm adding to this picture. But what I've got, this treasure, is the book of the family. And you can get this printed. I can tell you how to do it. And I recommend it because it's such fun and such a relief when you want to know those things like, why did they pick my name? Where did they meet? And what did they do 20 years ago when they were children? Thank you. You know what to do now. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Angela, for sharing with us some tips and hints on why and how we should become authors. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's be honest here. Who is inspired to go and start writing a book about yourself? Excellent. We'll come back. Toastmaster Angela, check on these people. Okay, in a few years' time, maybe. Hopefully, we would have either started our journey or completed some books as well. And that's right. No, I haven't done it yet. And that concludes the prepared speech segment for this evening. May I please ask the timer, distinguished Toastmaster Alicia Chair, to tell us about the times of the various speeches we've heard tonight.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Lee Buckley. I'm very happy to report the timing for all the speakers. Well, all the speakers spoke very well, with the exception of one speaker who overspoke her timing. And other than that, everyone spoke within time. The first speaker, Corey, spoke for 7 minutes, 22 seconds. Joan spoke for 8 minutes, 45 seconds, so she's a bit out of time. Then the third speaker, Kanan, spoke for 6 minutes, 41 seconds. And the final and last speaker, Angela, spoke for 6 minutes and 14 seconds. Well done, everyone, and congratulations to all. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Madam Timer, for sharing with us the various speech times tonight. May I please invite everyone to vote for the best speaker for tonight. Unfortunately, as this, Toastmaster Joan D'Souza has gone over time, we are unable to vote for her tonight. So there will be 3 speakers, Toastmasters Corey, Angela, and Distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara. 71% voted. That's great. We'll have probably another 30 seconds before we close the poll. In the meantime, the theme for tonight was confidence. Earlier tonight, I asked a few people a few members of the audience what their secret recipes were for building self-confidence. Perhaps you may want to think about it, because I may call upon you anytime to ask about your secret recipe. Thank you, everyone, for your votes. Before we go on a 10-minute break, may I please invite Toastmaster Martin to share with us your secret recipe for building self-confidence.
My secret recipe is to be always happy. I think that if you are happy, and as Thomas Chen said, to look at the mirror. So you look that you are alive, then you say, I'm alive and I am enjoying this day at maximum. So I can live tomorrow or not, but I have today and I will do it as much as I can today. And also to enjoy our pets. For example, I have you one here. So they love me very much. I have that, for example, the rooster, the cat, my snake, the bears, the dogs. I have plenty of animals that love me a lot. And I say, okay, that's it is enough to increase my confidence, because in Mexico we say, no tiene gallo que le cante. That means it doesn't have a rooster to sing. I have 3 roosters, so I'm a triple rooster. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Man. You have triple rooster. Or in Australia, we have a song by Bobby McFerrin. Don't worry, be happy. I encourage you look up that song. Perhaps you may be singing that with me later on tonight. Thank you, everyone. We'll now go for a 10-minute break so that the evaluators can prepare their evaluations, and we'll come back in 10 minutes' time for the last segment of tonight's meeting, the evaluations and reports segment. See you back in 10 minutes, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to the last segment of tonight's meeting, the evaluation and reports segment. As what Toastmaster Thomas Chen has eluded us earlier, active listening helps in giving evaluations, where we're able to evaluate on the content and delivery and give some commendations and recommendations as well to the speakers. Tonight, we had 4 prepared speeches. The speakers will be evaluated by 4 evaluators. May I please invite the first evaluator, Toastmaster Joan D'Souza, to present her evaluation. As I introduced Toastmaster Joan earlier, she is an avid learner who constantly pushes her horizon. To her, the sky is the limit. Over to you, Toastmaster Joan D'Souza, to present your evaluation for Toastmasters Corey's speech.
President, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, and especially to you, Corey. My gosh, Corey, you brought Singapore alive to me. I lived in Singapore for 5 years, and those were the most beautiful and cherishable moments in my life. You're bringing tears in my eyes when you showed me all those facts, and I could actually visualize myself sitting with my friends. And I have, trust me, each and every Chinese New Year I have spent with my dearest Chinese friends, eating all those dumplings and having those fruits and mandarin. And those were the most memorable days of my life. And you made me really nostalgic. Not only that, but you actually shared with us 8 facts. Can you believe that? I mean, 8 facts. Like you shared about us about the significance of trees, the cards, and the auspicious shaking of the hands and decorations and the color. And not only that, but you also showed us the significance, why we exchange red packets, why we have those beautiful red decorations, and why we need to have that nice big foo in front of the door so that we can drive away bad luck. I wish, Corey, I knew about this earlier before I entered Singapore. It would have really helped me to connect more and make more friends in Singapore. And I wish I could have met with you before I entered Singapore, or even had like a girlfriend date with you. But anyways, Singapore Dynamic Club didn't exist, so I didn't know about you much. So anyway, to move on, how can we change and make this beautiful piece of your speech and transform it? You had great presentation skills as well. You had great facts to tell us. It was like watching a movie to me, a Mani Ratna movie, showing us with all these nice pictures, colorful pictures, red pictures, and apt like small details in it. Just a right small title and great elaboration with significance of why these decorations and auspicious decorations have been done, why these auspicious fruits are being done, why there is this greetings being done, and all, etc. Now, what we can do further about this? I would have really liked, what you could have done more. And my truthful, honest statement is, please try to add some personal stories to it. Share with us on how did you celebrate these special occasions. How did you exchange your greetings with your own family and friends? Did you put like a nice coin and gave it to your uncles and aunts in the dumpling? And it would have been more humorous. It would have made the story more alive and much more relatable. We are an international platform. This is like a heavenly space to make any kinds of mistakes and be more engaging, more relatable. And we could have really understood Chinese culture a lot more. I know because I've lived in Singapore, but many of us, we really don't know much about Chinese culture. You had an excellent opportunity, and we would have loved to hear your own personal stories related to this. All in all, you did very well, and we are looking forward to have more personal narratives in your speech. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmasters of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joan D'Souza. Yes, indeed. I wish I had known more about the auspicious food and the 8 auspicious things that Corey told us tonight. Yeah. And thank you as well, Toastmaster Thomas, for reminding us or hinting to us to use the word of the day, hint. Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster Joan D'Souza. The next evaluator is Toastmaster Ahmad Nur Hasim. Toastmaster Ahmad Nur Hasim likes reading novels, empowering others, and watching TED videos. During the weekends, what better way than to spend his time playing with his children? Toastmaster Ahmad Nur Hasim will be presenting his evaluation on John D'Souza's speech, Connect Before You Correct. Over to you, Toastmaster Ahmad Nur Hasim.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lee Buckley. John, your story is wonderful. Your speech, well organized, well structured, and of course, inspire us, especially me. First, your speech is well organized when you signpost like firstly and secondly. And you have two story. First is from your doctor story, and the second is from your friends. And the point second is vocal variety. You use good vocal variety when you was speaking a dialogue with your doctor, with your angry maybe in when you face your doctor took bubble tea. And finally, in the end of speech, you have a call to action. Learn to connect, spend time, and extra. It is very important, the speech, and we can learn from your speech. I encourage you to use of proportional hand movement. If we use many hand movement without proportional, we can get the point of the nonverbal communication. And easy to remember formula for doing this is to improve nonverbal communication is NODS, neutral, open, defined, and strong. You can start in the neutral position with your hand at your sides. This makes you open or always ready to naturally to move your hand on certain sentence or define it and to strengthen your word strength. Overall, your speech is wonderful, well structured, and of course, vocal variety is good. And I encourage you to use hand movement in proportional space. Back to you, Lee Buckley.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ahmad Nur Hasim. I learned a new acronym tonight. NOTS. Yeah. Thank you for your evaluation. And now, please welcome the third evaluator, Toastmaster CJ Lim. He is a polyglot who speaks Chinese, English, Malay, Indonesian, Japanese, and is now learning Korean as well. I would like to try my Korean. 안녕하세요. How's that?
안녕하세요.
Please welcome Toastmaster CJ Lim to present his evaluation for Distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara's speech, Ethical Issues in Volunteer Organization. Over to you, Toastmaster CJ Lim.
Fantastic Friday, Club President, fellow Toastmaster, and distinguished guests, especially to you, Kanan. You really ace your speech. I will use the acronym ACE. A for attention. You use open body gesture and look straight into the camera with very good eye contact. Your eyes are the window to our soul. C for cool. You are calm, cool, collected. You are as cool as a cucumber. The structure and organization of your speech were excellent and well organized. E for entertaining. Your speech is memorable and mesmerizing for us. You share your Toastmaster journey which the audience could resonate with by taking up the exco role and how we should do our best to excel in it. Facts tell, stories sells. I feel that some points can be improved to make it an even greater speech. Hint number 1, do not use the virtual background, as sometimes the body movement will be affected. Hint number 2, to minimize the hand movement, as sometimes you need to use slower body movement. Move slowly. Hint number 3, you can maximize the time because you have around 1 minute more, and we will love to hear your struggle in your speech. We want to know your challenges in Toastmasters. The challenge for you to soar to greater heights. The final hint for you is to study the Freytag pyramid. At the climax, we want to know your struggle and how you overcome the challenge to become from zero to hero, how you become a distinguished Toastmaster. In summary, Kanan, you are an eloquent speaker. You excel in organizing your speech. Just to take note of adding a climax to bring your story to life. Make us feel by taking us on a roller coaster ride, by rising and falling in your story. My favorite quote from Maya Angelou: people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel. I'm sure your next speech will be entertaining, enriching, enlightening for us. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster CJ Lim. You have demonstrated how you aced your evaluation. Active listening, cool as a cucumber, and engaging in delivering your evaluation. Thank you, Toastmaster CJ Lim. And the last evaluator for tonight is Distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara, who evaluated Toastmaster Angela Lansbury's Icebreaker. Please welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Kanan Sankara all the way from Baltimore, Maryland, USA.
Thank you, Madam Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and especially Toastmaster Angela. As I mentioned during my introduction, even though this is the icebreaker speech, you have given many speeches like this. I loved your start. This is your life book, and how you interacted with your aunt and got so many information for publishing the book. You hinted us to take the step to write a book. That was very nice. I am going to definitely take the lesson. When you talked about sharing your story with the aunt that you are trying to get the material for publishing the speech, my mind went to my house. We used to sit together on the floor and eat our dinner and share what was going on the day. That was great. Actually, I remember that the way you also talked to your aunt and collected the information for your publishing, for the materials for the publishing. Thank you for reminding my days, my younger days. I liked my sharing. I liked your speech because you shared the prop. Your gestures were right, appropriate, and excellent. It did not move very fast like mine. I think that is very good. And the passes were excellent. I could follow every word, and I could definitely also imagine where and absorb that. And your call to action was excellent, also saying that please try to publish a book. That was great. And I liked everything in that speech. Only one thing I would say that I think sometime when you are seeing this side, the lighting was not appropriate, but that is a very minor thing when you are working on the technical, with this type of technical difficulties and Zoom. I think that is a very small petty things, but other than that, I could not find anything. Your speech was excellent. I love to hear more speeches like this, Angela. Thank you for enlightening us. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Kanang Sankara, for your insightful evaluation tonight. You have demonstrated that you were actively listening, as what Toastmaster Thomas Chen has told us tonight as well in his workshop. And now, may I please invite Madam Timer, distinguished Toastmaster Alicia Chia, for the timings of the evaluations.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. I'm very happy and pleased to report that everybody has spoken within the time given. And the timings for the evaluators are as follows. The first evaluator, Joan, spoke for 3 minutes and 28 seconds, while the second evaluator, Ahmad, spoke for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. The third evaluator CJ spoke for 2 minutes and 55 seconds. And finally, the last and final evaluator, Kanan, spoke for 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Well done and congratulations to all evaluators. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Madam Timer, distinguished Toastmaster Alicia Chia. Well done to all the evaluators. Now is the time for you to cast your vote for the best evaluator. We had 4 evaluators tonight and they all qualify for the voting. While we are voting, may I please invite Peggy to share your secret recipe for how you would build your self-confidence. Over to you, Peggy.
Hi. And my secret recipe to build the self-confidence is keep smiling. Because if you have a smile on your face and people will think you are positive to learn something and willing to and express yourself, I think this is the key point for me to build up the self-confidence.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. Keep smiling. When you smile, the world will smile with you as well. Thank you for sharing with us, Peggy. What about Mike? Are you here, Mike? Or Trisha? I think they're a bit shy at the moment. So let's move on and we'll come back to them a bit later. Next is the report segment. May I please invite Toastmaster Jennifer Lim to present her grammarian report. Over to you, Toastmaster Jennifer.
Sorry, just a moment, please. Yes. Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. And I would like to commend quite a few of you for using the word hint. Maybe it's too simple. Maybe it doesn't connect to some of the speeches. But anyway, congratulations to Lee Buckley. You have used it 5 times. Joan, 4 times. Thomas, trying his best to put in the chat twice. And Kanan, thank you for using it once. And I like to report on the good usage of some of those phrases, sentences. And a lot of them actually came from Thomas. Emotions are not solutions. Wow, that's a good one. emotionally grounded. All about emotions. Emotions cloud our judgment. That's true. Manage that cream of emotions. Wow, using cream to describe emotions. And then add pepper and salt to your speech. When you listen, it opens up people. You know, when you listen, people talk to you more after you listen well, and then they open up to you. That's what he meant. Someone said, everybody has a book in them. And that's very true. If we write the book, we only know our own story and our own book. If we don't write them, we don't have that book. Is your speech as cool as a cucumber? I think this you know who said that. Eyes are the windows of our soul. Facts tell, stories sell. True. And some pronunciation, someone said thought, which should be pronounced as told, not taught. Festival should be pronounced as festival. Doctor should be pronounced as daughter. Instead of saying hand movement, to move your hand, probably you can say gestures. And then there's another one that say, she said, truthful honesty is redundant. Honesty is already the truth. So you don't need truthful, the word truthful. Next, I have alliteration. Clear, correct, congruent. Crystal clear, enjoy and enrich. Nature over nurture. Connect well before you correct. Connect, correct. Focus on giving rather than getting. Giving, getting. Entertain, enrich, enlightening. Yes. And Lee Buckley said, pocket, rocket, rhyme. It rhymes. Nice. And repetition of chosen grammatical form within a sentence, parallel structure, or the opposite. Ask question to extract the right answers. So ask answers. Commendations and recommendations. Act in the heat of the moment. Begin with an end in mind. Begin and. Giving more than getting. You give rather than get. Focus on giving rather than getting. The more we give, the more we receive. You give and receive. Good use. Repetition of word or phrase and a verb. I think this is, I believe is Thomas who said, but I couldn't catch some of it. I'm not sure whether he said derail, or be real, something, be real, something, and be real. And he also said, regardless of how something, regardless of how something, and regardless of how something. You see, he's trying to make me practice my listening skill. Thomas, yes, I shall listen better next time. And he said, they will share their vulnerability. They will share something, and they will share something. Someone said, practice, and practice. Personification. Humans are creatures of emotions. Really? Yes. pour their heart out. Can you really pour things out of your heart? But it's a description, metaphorical speaking, bubbling with life. Another metaphorical sentence is bring the house down, cut through any distraction, cut through different noises to capture the main essence. Well said. That's about all. I give credit to all speakers who do their best in trying to use the word of the day and also to use the language as well as possible, although we know English is not our native language. But well done. Before I end, I'd like to impart this quote by Joe Saba. You don't have to be good to start. You just have to start to be good. And I'm doing that because this is only my second attempt at being a grammarian. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Wow, thank you, Madam Grammarian. You mentioned this was only your second time.
Yes.
How comprehensive was your report tonight? It made me think to myself, I better listen better next time as well. Hint, hint to everyone else. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Grammarian. Now, ladies and gentlemen, friends, fellow Toastmasters, all good things must come to an end. Everyone say with me, oh.
Goodness.
Don't continue.
Yes. But the good news is, same bad time, same bad channel. We meet every Friday starting at 9 p.m. Singapore time. We'll see you again next week. But before we depart for tonight, would you like to know who the winners are? Yes, excellent. Please put your hands together, drum roll. I'll see if we can. The best speaker tonight was Toastmaster Corey Milani. We expect red packets. Okay, with a lot of that's right, red packets with the 8 and lots of eights in it.
Yeah, she has to give me. I'm one of the seniors.
Digital ang pao. Send
Digital
email.
All right.
PayLah or Grab also can.
Has it got Bitcoin in it? Thank you. Congratulations
Pay
again.
now.
That's right.
Pay later,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And for the best evaluator who aced the evaluation tonight, congratulations, Toastmaster CJ Lim. He demonstrated active listening, he was cool as a cucumber, and he was engaging in his evaluation. Well done, Toastmaster Corey and Toastmaster CJ Lim. Thank you, everyone, for a fabulous Friday night of Toastmastering. I hope you have enjoyed the night as much as I have. Remember, confidence is built on many things, including choices and accomplishments that feed our passion and make us happy, as well as ones that make us proud of who we are. Discovering these things is one of the most worthwhile pursuits that you can do. And thank you to everyone for sharing your secret recipes with us on building self confidence. I would like to leave you with these thoughts before I hand over to the president for his closing address. Don't say, I can't do it. Say, I can do it. Believe in yourself. For, for when you believe in yourself, you will be you. And thank you, everyone, for a great night tonight. Over to you, Mr. Club President, Distinguished Toastmaster Willie Lowe.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Toastmaster Ahmad, can I ask you a question? How are you confident today as a Toastmaster doing a speech? Since you already do more than 7 speeches, are you confident? Or you want to do more?
Confident. Yes, I'm.
So which is the area that you lack confidence? Do you evaluator or do you Toastmaster of the day or timer or out counter? Which role are you less confident? Do you have any specific roles that you feel that you are not confident? Ahmad, which role do you feel that you are less confident? That you feel that you should do more?
I like formula in how to evaluate how to speak in English, because English is not my first language, so I need formula like in mathematics on thesis, how to speak, how to evaluate in this forum.
Okay, I have a solution for you. I will give you the answer later. Toastmaster Angela, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
What is the role that you are less confident in?
Toastmaster. Timer.
Okay. Which role are you very confident?
Evaluation.
Okay. Toastmaster Connie, you have been with the club for almost 4 months. What role are you confident in doing?
Really, yes, it has been 4 months. Do you know how to spell my name correctly?
Sorry, I have pronunciation you should know.
Cory, Cory.
Yeah. So which role are you confident in doing?
In confident doing?
Yes.
Almost the same, everything.
Okay. Which role do you feel that you are less confident?
Almost the same also for everything.
Okay. Toastmaster of the day. Which role are you confident?
Mr. Club President, what I learned is even if you're not confident in something, you can push yourself, you can challenge yourself to be better. And therefore, whenever people say to me, would you like to do a role? I always say yes. And then my heart starts to pound. So I look at it as a challenge to improve myself. And therefore, I always say yes, even though it might be a difficult role.
In my years in Toastmaster, I have heard some Toastmaster mention that they did SA for a year and they become confident in that role. And some of them, they say they don't know how to do, they are not confident enough to perform any role, especially it's online. So the answer to my question, the secret to my question that I asked Toastmaster Ahmad, Toastmaster Angela, Toastmaster Connie, Toastmaster Lee is just want you to do something. If you are not confident enough to do a role in Toastmaster that make you confident enough, go to your vice BPE, Toastmaster Alicia, or go to the Toastmasters and sign up for a role and keep doing it. Because the more you do, the more confident you are in your role. There's a saying in Toastmaster. For those of us that simply walk into a Toastmaster meeting, they start down their path. They started their path, wherever life will take them. Some argue it's about all the journey. So what's the journey? Doing Toastmaster meeting roles, doing speeches, doing evaluation. That is your journey in Toastmaster. Other believe is the reward that is what makes journey fulfilling. Ultimately, it really doesn't matter. You have to take the journey to take the reward. So what's the reward? Every year, August, the reward is the world champion of public speaking, or your reward in life, your professional life, that you become more confident, and that's where Toastmasters say. Over back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Club President. And yes, now it's definitely the time where we have to part and say goodbye. Thank you, everyone, again for a fabulous Friday night of Toastmastering. I will see you same bad time, same bad channel next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Good night.